Yes, thank you so much for that update. All right, moving on. Well, a court in Rajasthan's Ajmer has issued notices to the Archaeological Survey of India and the centre following a petition that claims that there is a Shiv temple in the Dargah of Sufi Saint Muinuddin Chishti in Ajmer. The petition filed in September has asked the court to allow worship at the spot again. Vishnu Gupta, chief of the right-wing group Hindu Sena, who is the petitioner in the case involving Ajmer Sharif, said, and I quote, "Our demand was that the Ajmer Dargah should be declared as Sankat Mochan Mahadev Temple." The petition cites a book by retired judge Harvilas Sharda, written in 1911, and says Hindu carvings and iconography are visible around the Ajmer Dargah, including on the Buland Darwaza. The book, Ajmer Historical and Descriptive, claims that debris from a Shiv temple was used in building the Dargah. The petition also alleges that a Jain temple existed within the sanctum sanctorum of the site. Yes, temples have been destroyed in North India, but do we need to dig everywhere is the big question. Another big question that comes up is, as a row erupts over the Ajmer Dargah, how do we solve this as one India? The Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh chief Mohan Bhagwat said that there is no need to rake up more controversy over places of worship. Let's listen in first to what he said.
अपनी संविधान सम्मत न्याय व्यवस्था को पवित्र सर्वश्रेष्ठ मानकर उसके निर्णय हमको पालन करने चाहिए। उनके निर्णयों पर प्रश्न चिन्ह नहीं लगाना चाहिए। ठीक है, प्रतीकात्मक कुछ हमारी विशेष श्रद्धा थी, ऐसे स्थानों के बारे में हमने कहा, लेकिन रोज एक मामला निकालना नया, ये भी नहीं करना चाहिए। हमको झगड़ा क्यों बढ़ाना है?
All right, let's talk about this. Sumit Peer, political commentator, senior political commentator with us on the show. Major Muhammad Ali Shah, defense expert, also joins us on the program. Tahira Hassan, activist, is joining us on the show as well. Advocate Naveen Chomal, senior lawyer, with us on the program as well. Sumit Peer, regardless of the facts that I have narrated in my opening monologue, Mr. Bhagwat has a very important point. He said, "Hame jhagda nahi badhana chahiye." You know, obviously there are two sides to this. One is, of course, the historical correctness that a number of people are trying to seek. And on the other side, you have peace, you have getting along, you have unity, you have the secular fabric of India, which definitely gets disrupted every time something like this comes up. We have seen this in the case of Babri, we have seen this in the case of Gyan Vapi, we saw it very, very recently in UP as well. What do you make of this tug of war between the petitioner and, of course, the historical experts who will say that, you know, there was nothing of this sort and we will get into a legal entanglement for years and years on, but the struggle as well as the friction between these two communities, perhaps in a peaceful place like Ajmer, will be intensified. What's your take on this, Sumit Peer?
Vineet, thank you for having me on your show. It's a very important subject. Look, there are two aspects to it. First aspect is what you see and what you believe, and what you don't see and you still believe. So there are some places where you see. I mean, if you look at the Gyan Vapi, you don't need a ASI. Even you and me can go and see what it is. If you look at the Mathura, no need of a ASI. Eyes can tell you what it is. If you look at some of the architectures wherein the eye can see it. Respected Mohan Bhagwat ji said, let's not try to look for a shivling in any mosque. That is where there are no evidence. I mean, we should not keep on digging and trying to find was there a shivling ever there. But he never said wherever it is visible, wherever you can see it, close your eyes. Don't call it a day. No. The Muslim community did not show magnanimity. There was a time when I was on your channel, I said, yeah, Mathura, Kashi and 3-4 places are there, Ayodhya, let's settle it, then possibly the things can kind of, be at par. Though I'm nobody to represent the Hindu community, but that was a suggestion on a national TV. That could be an amicable way. But the Muslim side said, look, we have a right to go to the court and we'll go to the court and let the courts decide. So if the Muslim community has a right to go to the court and let the courts decide, then likewise Hindu community has a right to go to the court and let the courts decide. I was telling on that, it was 2 years back on News X. I said then there are 40,000 such cases. If you start opening the Pandora's box, one day thousands of such cases will open up. Because it's up to you, what do you want to do now?
Isn't that the big question, Sumit? How many cases will you rake up and how many resolutions would you expect? What does that do to the community?
You see, Vineet, there are some cases, wherein there is no visible evidence. But there are some cases which are very important. Like Sambhal is the place where the Kalki Avatar is supposed to come. Now, I don't want to get into the history, but the biggest dayek in Ajmer Sharif, why was that gifted by Akbar and what did Akbar achieve before gifting that dayek? It is documented history. So I'm not trying to flare up sentiments here, but if you read into the history, you know why it was gifted. So there is a lot of sweat and blood. There are a lot of atrocities which have happened at that time. So if Muslims have a right to go to the courts and ask for justice, I believe Hindus have equal right to go to the courts and ask for justice. And before my co-panelists bring the place of worship act, Vineet, one thing I've been trying to clear on various TV channels and YouTube channels is that there's a clear provision in this act. If fundamentally the nature of the place has changed, then a survey can be done. It is not covered by that act. That is why all the courts are allowing for these surveys to happen, because there is a pravdan or a provision within the act which allows for those surveys to happen. That is why even if in the Gyan Bapi case, it went up to the Supreme Court, but the Supreme Court said yes, the survey has to happen. Ultimately, if something is not agreed, I mean, it cannot be that for the peace and harmony, I will go to the court and you say you sit back and settle back. Either something comes amicably, which was not done, or then let the courts decide. I mean, ab 4 ho ya 400 case ho ya 4000 case ho, how does it matter? It might not happen in your and my lifetime, but someday it will happen. That is what the people will tell you. So this is, it will go.
All right, let me also rope in Major Muhammad Ali Shah, and let me tell you why Muhammad Ali Shah is here. Ali, your grandfather, Mr. Ali Muhammad Shah, was the administrator for the Ajmer Dargah. In fact, Ali, there was a buzz of you also taking on that same position just a few months ago, which is the committee last year. What do you make of what's going on right now? You know, there is obviously a history attached to Ajmer Sharif, but the Hindus say that there is a history prior to the history attached to the Muslim community when it comes to the Dargah. It's obviously a very sensitive matter, but the court in Rajasthan, you know, has sent this matter forward to the ASI and the central government. They want to probe the matter. Where do we go from here?
Right, Vineet, thank you very much for having me on your show on a very, very sensitive and a pertinent subject. Firstly, let me tell our audience that Ajmer Sharif Dargah is a very, very secular place where not only Muslims, but even Hindus from not just India, from all over the world, they come and they visit.
Valid point.
Yes. So they come from all over the world, and it is a very, very sacred place which has its own sanctity. Now, when a case like this comes up, I mean, people internationally, globally will say they have right to go to the court. Anyone has a right to go to the court. It's okay. But what if the court rules out that the appeal was a frivolous appeal? What if? I am no one to decide whether it is or it's not. The court comes out with that. Then what happens? Then the entire credibility is lost, which means thereafter people will only say that, oh, first Ram Mandir, then Gyan Bapi, then Mathura, then Kashi, then something on the other, Sambal, and now Ajmer is Dargah. So, and in fact, if you see in Islam, there is no concept in Islam where people actually worship a Dargah, or pray to Dargah, or offer namaz to the Dargah, to the shrine per se. They offer namaz to the mosque, alright. Now, as per what I know, the history that I know, if it has to be changed, that's a different story altogether, but the history that I know, that it was that Ajmer Sharif Dargah, or the Dargah Ajmer Sharif, it's a shrine to the famous Sufi Moinuddin Chishti, Khwaja Gharib Nawaz, from 1141 AD to 1236 AD, located in Ajmer Sharif, which we all know, and in Rajasthan, which is now the construction of the Dargah. It was started by Iltutmish and completed during the reign of Humayun. Now the main gate of Ajmer Sharif, the Dargah, is called Nizam Gate. Now, because it was built in 1911 by Mir Osman Ali Khan, who was then the Nizam of Hyderabad State, and after this comes the Shahjahani Gate, built by Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan. Now, finally, this comes at the Buland Darwaza is there, which was built by Sultan Mahmud Khilji. Now, this Buland Darwaza is different than the Buland Darwaza in Fatehpur Sikri. That's a different one. Now, that is the history we have learnt in school, and now on which the flag of this is hoisted every year, which is on the occasion of the Urs, which Khwaja Chishti, and the ceremony begins from there. Now, this, as I mentioned earlier, that about Ajmer, that's the history we know. Now, it's a new turn that we have heard. Well, they have a right to appeal to the court, okay, but again I'm saying, what if the court declines that appeal and says the appeal is frivolous? The entire credibility is lost. And in fact, my grandfather Ali Muhammad Shah, he did a
But
lot
have you heard of
service.
these claims in the past, Ali? Have you heard of these claims in the past, or is this the first time you heard something like this? Okay, okay. Let me also rope in Tahira Hassan into this conversation as well. Tahira ji, how do you think it's important to address this concern? How do you think it's important to historically set a perspective as well? And how do we align to the fact that yes, there were wrongs that were committed in the past by rulers from the past, and those wrongs, if they are in fact changed or they're converted into a right, will have a price to pay. There will be a cost attached to that.
No, I just want to ask one thing, that we have been living, peacefully, peaceful coexistence, and how these things started all of a sudden now. And this Dargah, Moinuddin Chishti's Dargah, is the only Dargah in India, that is governed by the article, Moinuddin Chishti, Article 1955. And this act was, passed in the parliament and is governed by the government act. So how this come? And from the first Prime Minister of independent India, from Nehru ji to Modi ji, they all offered chadar on this. And it was made in the time of Mughal time. But after this, Marathas also respected it like anything. And it is not only for the Muslims. Doors are open for all religion in respect to whatever caste is there or religion is there. It's open. They spread, these Sufis spread only love, unity. So in this way, we are damaging, whoever is doing is damaging the secular fabric of our country. This is not only question of the Worship Act, but it is the question of Dargah Act 1955 also. You are not going to pay respect to any act. This act was to passed in the parliament, not on the street. And you already quoted that Mohan Bhagwat ji, chief of the RSS, that said, why to look Shireen in every mosque? Except Hindu-Muslim, both should accept the reality of historical reality and go for the amicable solution. So I am seeing how much, mandir we will discover in these mosques or in dargahs. Is there any stop? Where are we going to stop? Why no priority on the other things? Like put the emphasis on youth employment, the women issues. We must discuss these things.
Okay, all right. But this is also important. Advocate Chomil, in terms of the legality that has been put forth to the Archaeological Survey of India as well as the centre, what is the probability that this case is going to see the light at the end of the tunnel?
See, continuing what Sumit ji was very rightly saying, let us come to the legalities first. Much has been said about the Places of Worship Act. So let me dispel the erroneous notion and let me inform that Section 3 has a clause where therefore it says very categorically, Section 4 has a clause 3 which says that nothing contained in subsection 1 and 2 shall apply to any place of worship referred to in the above subsections, which is an ancient and historical monument or an archaeological site or remains covered by the ancient monuments and archaeological sites and remains. So please appreciate that there is a categorical proof that prior to the Dargah which was constructed at the site, there existed a Prachin Shiv Mandir and it has all the ancient monuments over there. And our history is very clear that within the Hindu community there are various temples together. So there is in the Sanctum Sanctorum there is also a Jain Mandir situated. So you please appreciate that what Muslims tried to do that time, like as it was said in Sholay, ek galati ki Thakur Sahab. So the galti Muslimanon ne ye ki thi, wherever they constructed the mosques and dargahs, they partly destroyed the mandirs and let the remains be there to be visible to the Hindus as a day in day out atrocities of Hindus, that just look, your mandir is there, The remains of your mandir are there, and on top of that, we have built our mosques or dargahs. So exactly same thing has occurred here. There are remains of the ancient Hindu mandir. It is the archaeological site of Shiv Mandir Purana, on which the dargah was built. So naturally, there is a proof, and that historian, what is his name? Hari Bilas Sardaji has also very rightly in 1911 in his book written details about this particular shrine. And since then it has been, what you say, contested by the Hindu side, even prior to the partition also. So you please appreciate that court has very rightly considered the facts of the case, and in the petition of 38 pages, in the suit of 38 pages, as many 38 instances have been cited that this shows that there was a Hindu mandir over there, this shows that there was Hindu mandir over there. So court has very wisely considered all those aspects and not jumped to the order, but court has very wisely ordered that there be survey by the Archaeological Survey of India. And you know, Archaeological Survey of India has been very fair. In fact, for the Ram Janmabhoomi case, one of the head was a Muslim gentleman, but he was very honest to the nation. He did not want to succumb to the Muslim pressure, but he gave testimony in favor of Ram Mandir. So we respect all our like-minded Muslim brothers also who want justice to be done to our Hindu community. And this case also, the Archaeological Survey of India will definitely conduct a very fair survey and submit a report to the court.
Okay.
And we Hindus are law-abiding people. We are not like Muslims who will resort to violence all the time. So what our Pope advice are threatening that why should we provoke violence, why should we provoke violence? Means why should the Muslim community always resort to violence? I am asking. They should go by court's order. Let the court decide very fairly. If the court finds that yes, there is an ancient Shiv Mandir, and let the Shiv Mandir be restored, fine.
Okay,
If
okay.
the court
Let's-
says no,
let's-
it should not
let's-
be
let's-
done, we will
let's-
abide by the court's order.
Let's bring in Sumit Peer into this conversation once again. Sumit, in fact, the plaintiff has also alleged that historical accounts of the architecture feature designs and carvings which resemble Hindu temple structures. They also say that a shivling exists in the underground passage within the Dargah complex. Keeping in mind, what happened in UP, and keeping in mind what happened with Gyanvapi, or what is happening at Gyanvapi as well, and what we see in Rajasthan today with the Ajmer-e-Sharif. And of course, we are in the middle of the winter session as well. The Waqf Board bill is also something which is going to be debated upon. It's going to be contended. It's going to be argued upon. Do you think this is the right opportune time for something like this to happen?
Vineet, there is never a good time and there is never a good muhurta. And at least the concept of muhurta is only in Hinduism, not in other panths. The challenge is very simple, Vineet. Look, कहते हैं दो हाथ से ताली बजती है. Muslim side wants to go to the court because this is my law. अब 1955 का act है, 1991 का act है that the honorable courts will look into it and they will legally look into it. There will be competent lawyers like Mr. Naveen Chomal and others who will go and argue in front of the justices. They will take the decision. It will not be done on a TV panel. But when we talk of national unity, integrity, employment, youth, सब कुछ अच्छा है. And with greatest of respect for all the saints and all the Sufis, tell me something, why Siddhi Vinayak today is a property of the Waqf Board? भाई सिद्धि विनायक कहते हैं वक्फ बोर्ड की प्रॉपर्टी टुडे, आज की बात कर रहा हूँ. आई एम नॉट टॉकिंग 500 years back. मैं 50 साल की, मैं 5 साल की बात भी नहीं, मैं आज टुडे Siddhi Vinayak is claimed to be the property of Waqf Board. Is anybody blind to claim that property? Or are you trying to be, do you think Hindus are fools? They don't understand what is happening. 1500-year-old Shiv temple in Karnataka with the entire village. Well, Islam is 1400 years, is a Waqf property. Mukesh Ambani ji ka ghar is a Waqf property. Parliament House of, the Assembly of Calcutta is a Waqf property. The High Court of, is a Waqf property. And what do you want? You want to go to a Waqf tribunal to appeal. If that is happening, now tell me, for the sake of God, when you say Siddhi Vinayak is a Waqf property, what do you expect Hindus to do in the name of national unity? Go back to home and sit and lie in slumber. This is what is happening in this country. I'm not even blaming Muhammad, Babar and, all these invaders now. Who is running the Waqf Board today? What is the claim on the Siddhi Vinayak temple? Tell me, sir. Because you're saying there's a Waqf Act that gives me proper Siddhi Vinayak temple is mine. Now, these are the things we need which are happening in broad daylight. Now, how do you expect the Hindu community to behave? What do you want the Hindu community to do? Just sit and say national unity hai. And if people, what Naveen ji rightly said, if people threaten with violence, then there are forces and there are police who will handle violence. the violence will be handled. That is not a problem. But in the name of violence, in the name of having ruckus of the street power, you cannot deny Hindus what is there rightfully there. And what you are denying us what is rightfully there, you are telling us do not even appeal to what should are rightfully there within the purview of law. I will do stone pelting, I will fire on the police, and then I will go and say Siddhi Vinayak temple is epitome of Ganpati worship is yours tomorrow. I won't be surprised if one day somebody will say Sri Mata Vaishno Devi is a work property. One day you and me will be debating on this channel Sri Tirupati Balaji is a work property. Vineet ji, मैं कह रहा हूँ वो दिन ज़्यादा दूर नहीं. The way it is going, one day Vaishno Devi and Sri Tirupati Balaji, the most visited and the most richest shrines in the world, will be work property. And you have to go to Waqf tribunal to appeal against that. That is happening in this country. There is no Babar here. There is no Chishti here. I'm not talking about 100, 400. मैं आज 2024 की बात कर रहा हूँ. 2024 number I'm talking about. Now, how do you answer this?
Okay.
Now, what do you want the Hindus to do to this?
Let's get a response from Muhammad Ali Shah on what you have said. Ali, how would you like to respond to Sumit P? Do you think there is validity in what he has said about the Waqf board also erroneously perhaps, staking claim to land which perhaps idealistically should not be theirs?
Vineet, I have a very, very different opinion on that. And I go with what the RSS chief, Mr. Mohan Bhagwat, has said. What do we want to do? Do we want to look for a shivling beneath every mosque? कोई झगड़ा करवाना है क्या? He mentioned that. कोई झगड़ा नहीं करवाना हमको. So the very fact is, obviously, it's but obvious because since Ajmer Shri Dargah it has its own sanctity from across the world internationally. People from all religion, community, it's a very, very secular place. They come there, chadar chadane ke liye. So it is not, so it appears to be that the intention is to flare up passions and communal tensions. It appears to be that. But okay, fine, if they want to go to the court and they are most welcome. Secondly,
okay, we have a paucity of time. Let me quickly take concluding thoughts from Tahiraji and Advocate Chomal as well, and then we wrap up. Tahiraji, how do you respond to what Sumit has said?
I want to say these work boards. I am not in favor of work boards, but these work boards are under the work board. They are running in state. They are under the state government. The survey commissioner is appointed by the government. He is a government official. So you go and find out, put the accountability on them, drag them in the court, fix the CBI inquiry. I am saying on this national channel, why you people are not taking strict action against them? And second thing I am saying, nobody is justifying violence. And the second thing is this, that we have full trust. I always say in our courts, that they can go to the High Court after that if not satisfied. After that, they can go to the highest court of the land also. So naturally, the Honorable Court will deliver the justice, and that should be acceptable to each and everyone.
All right. Advocate Chomal, quickly, please, 20 seconds.
So, see, I would like to conclude. Kindly see how Major Mohammad Ali Shah very cleverly ducked the question about the Waqf board's claim on Siddhi Vinayak Mandir. So that exposes their frauds. Means on Hindu temple they are till today, as Sumit ji very rightly said, they are trying to make that claim, which is totally unjustifiable. And where there are total remains of our Hindu mandir, the ancient archaeological sites are there, and they are trying to deprive us from the right to approach the court. So this won't do. We Hindu community have faith in the court.
Quickly, Ali, Muhammad Ali Shah, quickly. Muhammad Ali Shah, quickly. Okay, Advocate Chomal. I think that was a personal attack. Okay, I think that was a personal attack. Advocate Chomal, that was a personal attack. That is not something we do here. All right, Ali, go ahead.
I take very strong objection to what the lawyer said, because what the lawyer said, he said it was very, very offensive. He said we Hindus are law-abiding citizens. We are not like Muslim community who not Advocate
Chomal, that's unwarranted. Advocate Chomal, no, sir, I can't allow you to speak like this. We are not in this business. Tahiraji, quickly.
Stated very clearly that each and every citizen
Advocate Chomal, I think you are unnecessarily instigating an avenue which doesn't need to be.
No.
However,
I think
however, we are not going to get
I can-
personal with any of our guests. Unfortunately, we've run out of time as well. Mohammad Ali Shah, thank you for being here and thank you for showing so much patience. We take a short break now. Be right back.